Let's talk healing builds. Generally, if you want to play that role in a team while running through PvE, you can't look past the 6-piece classified reclaimer set. It gets the absolute best out of the healing station, providing extra range, station health, and duration. The 6-piece bonus even allows you to instantly pop it back down if it gets destroyed by an enemy. But if the 6-piece reclaimer was all I was going to talk about, this will be a pretty short video. Like most of the 6-piece sets, the way you build them is fairly self-explanatory. In most cases, the 6-piece bonus actually tells you what you need to spec into. So I'm going to assume that you haven't yet managed to complete your 6-piece reclaimer build yet, or maybe you're after a little more information around the weapons and talents. With any build video I post up, you should be using these as a guide only. The intention is for you to use them as a starting point and then adapt them to your style of play. I'll do my best to show a few different options within the builds, but you'll need to try these out and make the choice for yourself. At the end I'll have a cheat sheet that will sum up the build covered in this video. Please let me know in the comments if I can provide a little more detail. If you want to come back and check out this video later, I've posted a timestamp to each section in the description. I won't be running through a ninja bike version of this build, because even using high ends you'll be getting more healing out of this build than you will with any 2 or 3-piece sets that you add to it. This build consists of 4-piece reclaimer, a vigorous chest, and the inventive backpack. The reclaimer set is all about the healing station. The 2, 3, and 4-piece bonuses increase the range, duration, and it also applies all support station mods at the same time. So while you're in the support station, your ammo will be infinite, you'll be immune to all status effects, and players will be automatically revived. Support stations are a constant heal over time, perfect for all PvE encounters. The reason this isn't so effective in PvP is because most of the top tier PvP builds focus on burst damage, and the support station just won't heal quite fast enough to make too much of a difference. For PvP you'll need to focus on burst healing skills like first aid. The vigorous chest grants overheal to all healing skills, so while you're standing in your healing station, which you will be 95% of the time, you'll constantly be overhealed, effectively meaning that you'll have 50% more toughness, which will counter the fact that you'll have almost nothing put into stamina and health, but it also synergizes really well with the inventive backpack. The inventive backpack increases skill power by 15% while at full health. Because you'll spend a lot of your time with an overheal, you'll constantly have this procced, allowing you to get even more out of your skills. All pieces have been rolled into electronics. Skill power has been put onto the mask, knee pads, and backpack, with health rolled onto the chest. Some of the other skill powers could be rolled into health instead, but just see how you go. After all, you will have that overheal, and you're spending a lot of time in your support station. Skill haste has been rolled onto the chest, gloves, and holster. With a full skill power build, you want to be getting your skill haste as close to the maximum 50% as possible. But where a lot of people slip up with a reclaimer build is that the support station itself, through the ammo cache, grants a 15% skill haste boost. So because you'll be spending most of your time in that support station, you don't want to be speccing any more than 35% skill haste into your build. Damage to elites have been rolled onto the mask and knee pads, and enemy armor damage onto the gloves. And of course ammo capacity onto the chest and backpack. Although this isn't very important because ammo really isn't an issue because of the ammo station, but for lack of a better option, this is still quite handy. You may think that your weapons don't really matter because of the lack of firearms, but with the right talents you'll be able to do a bit of damage and further increase the strength of your skills. Here I'm using a lightweight M4 as my primary. I'd recommend an assault rifle over something close range like an SMG because you want to be keeping a bit of distance between you and the NPCs. The talents I'm running are Talented, kills increases your skill power by 15% for 20 seconds. Competent, weapon damage is increased by 10% for 15 seconds after using a skill. You'll have this active the majority of the time because of your high skill haste. This is a talent that synergizes really well with the skill power build and Talented. Determined, in the 3rd slot. This is a personal preference of mine. As the healer, I feel it's important to have my recovery link off cooldown as quickly as possible. Plus also, this will help you get your skills back faster. But if you're requiring a bit more damage in order to proc Talented, you may choose to instead run Destructive. Your secondary weapon should have similar talents except swapping out Determined for Destructive or vice versa. Or if you want to run a Marksman rifle, you could use Cool-Headed for super fast skill recovery. Here I'm using the Urban MDR as my secondary. The talents are Competent, Talented, and Distracted. This is my main damage dealing weapon, particularly if I'm running a damage dealing skill like Seeker Mines, or if teammates are using builds that cause status effects. The weapon mods I'm using are really just anything that could squeeze out a little extra damage, but you need to pick these based on your preference. If on console you may want some extra stability or accuracy. On the lightweight M4 I'm attempting to gain any critical hit chance and damage I can, and on the Urban MDR I'm focusing more on headshot damage. As I said in a previous video, if you're wanting to further increase the damage you are getting out of your skills, if using Seeker Mines or Sticky Bomb, you could instead use a lower gear score weapon and use the talents Ferocious and Destructive. Because it's a lower gear score, the weapon talents are easier to unlock, and the damage transfers to your skills. But in this situation I'd rather be doing a little more damage with my weapon, so I'd recommend the weapons mentioned earlier. The first skill is a given, the support station. If this isn't one of your skills, you haven't been paying attention. With the second skill it's a bit more flexible. If you're running with a bunch of DPS players that are constantly pushing forward, you may want another healing skill, but one that will supply more in the way of burst healing, like the First Aid Overdose. If your team is constantly dropping away from your station, you may get more from the defib. However, if your team is running well with just the support station as their main form of healing, you can choose to use a damage dealing skill like a turret or Seeker Mines. You won't quite get the damage out of these that you would in a skill build spec'd straight into damage dealing skills, but your high skill power will still have these doing pretty decent damage anyway. There are a large amount of talents that can benefit this build. I've picked a couple of random ones based on my style of play, which is what you should be doing too. Critical Save. This is my clutch talent. It's constantly getting me out of trouble, and being the healer, if you go down, your team will suffer. Combat Medic. Using this will mean your medkits will heal your allies too. Unless you get into trouble, more often than not you'll be using your medkits in order to assist your damage dealing teammates if they're taking too many hits. Steady Hands. I'm on console, and my aim sucks, particularly since I've been playing on PC for the last few weeks. So because I'm the healer, and needing to sit back a little from the fight, I'm often sitting in cover trying to proc Talented. And Precision. This is a talent that I'll often switch out. If I'm running 2 healing skills, this is my preference in order to gain more damage from my weapons. But if I'm using a damage dealing skill as my second skill, I might change it out for Chain Reaction or Shrapnel. Other talents could include Triage or Strike Back, as these both further reduce skill cooldowns. The gear mods are 4 Electronics Skill Haste and 1 Electronics Skill Power. The reason for the skill power mod is because I'd already met the 35% skill haste gap I mentioned earlier. In fact, I actually went a little over. So rather than losing the 1%, I would have been better off going for 2 electronics skill power mods. The performance mods are support station healing speed. With these you should be getting healing close to 20k HP per second.
Having a broader genetic diversity of virus samples will help us track the virus.
As the team medic, you'll often find that your team plays a bit more recklessly. Because of you, your team can spend more time focusing enemies down than worrying about their health situation. I know this is something that every healer says, but healers really are the backbone to the team. This is mainly due to the team changing up their playstyle when a medic is on board. But because of this, you really need to focus on your own health first. Your team will become more and more reliant on your ability to keep them healing and reviving when needed, and it's pretty common to have the whole team wipe if you end up going down. So for this reason, you need to sit back. Get kills. Just because your main role is keeping your team alive doesn't mean you shouldn't be shooting down what you can. Kills will further boost the potency of your skills, so steal kills from your teammates if you have to. Although you're spec'd into the support station, it's going to go down from time to time. With practice you'll get better at this, but get into the habit of placing your healing box in areas that will cover a location useful for your team and won't be shot down immediately. If it gets low, blow it up. But make sure you've communicated this to your team, because if anyone is running low on health, they might want to quickly run back to it and get the 33% heal from the master mod. I'm actually terrible at being a healer. I have this need to be right up front dropping everything in sight. I'm more suited to DPS of tank builds. Most of these how to play tips actually come from watching my mate Kane, who is our team support player. Maybe you like the idea of playing a support build, but not necessarily focusing on being a healer. In the next build video, I'll go into something a little more flexible. But hopefully you've gained a tip or two from this, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!